So let's talk about getting those players to spend some of that hard-earned adventure in gold. Now, it's no secret that 5th edition does not have many written ways for players to get rid of their gold. It has a lot of them to acquire gold, so at the end of your campaigns or towards the mid to high levels, what you end up with is a bunch of really rich players with not a whole lot of outlet for their money. So what I'm going to do is lay out a few different ways that you can get your players to spend their money. As your players sink into their seats at the local tavern and dig into their meals, a few snippets of the bartender's conversation catches their attention. He's talking about some sort of ancient ruin in the nearby mountains. When they get up to talk to him about it and get more information, he feigns forgetfulness and says that a few coins might jog his memory. Now, assuming that your players don't just smack the information out of him, they'll end up spending a few coins and they'll pick up a new quest. Information is a commodity, like anything else, and information brokers are a real thing, especially in this day and age. If your players are stuck, they need a hint, or they want more information about the big bad evil guy that they're going after, well, go ahead and drop in some guy that knows a lot of things, but will only share it for the right price. Another variant on this idea is the treasure map. Now, selling pieces of treasure maps through various vendors is a bit of a video gamey idea, but maybe that's the kind of thing that you like in your campaign. The party nervously steps forward into the back room of the gambling den. Before them is an old, wizened man with a long mustache, seated behind a locked chest. Surrounding him on all sides are mountains of muscle, guards there to ensure that his safety and the safety of the goods that he is selling. Xanathar's guide added a downtime activity that allows players to buy magical items, and it's one of the biggest money sinks out there, for good reason. Magical items can upset the balance of the game and make the players extremely powerful. Now, if you choose to allow this activity in your campaign, players are allowed to spend 1 work week and 100 gold looking for a magic item broker. They can then make a persuasion check at the end of that week. They can get a bonus to that check by spending another work week and another 100 gold, up to a bonus of plus 10. When they're ready, they roll that persuasion check, and their score determines what kind of, or what quality of magical item broker they find, and what magical items are for sale. Now you, as the dungeon master, determine the price of the items and do your best to haggle with the players and take as much of their money as you can. If you do this, I recommend not having the items actually there with the broker. Take the player's money and then have the items that they purchased just kind of show up at their lodgings. Maybe some of those items are even counterfeit, prompting a revenge quest. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the busy city street, players see a darkened shop exterior, ignored by all passers-by. They feel inexplicably drawn to it, and as they enter, they see tables, chairs, vanities, and shelves, all scattered throughout the shop's interior, every square inch covered with curiosities, items, trinkets, and more. Behind a glass display case, and illuminated only by glowing emeralds, sits an inscrutable old woman. With a wave of her bony hand, she entreats the players to find their heart's desire among her collection. I'd recommend working with your players' backstories in this case to find an item that perfectly represents them and will hook them in, something that they're going to want, no matter the price. Don't worry about how it got here. It's magic. Just worry about hooking them in and making the item enticing. Now, should your players actually purchase such an item, don't give them any indication that it's special or magical. Just let them leave with it and be about their day. A few days after they leave the shop, make it very clear that the items that they purchased aren't normal. Maybe they're wondrous items that do some inane magical thing. Perhaps they are items of particular value to a shadowy organization who's hell-bent on getting them back. Maybe they give prophetic dreams to the item's owner, leading them towards their next heroic quest. Should the players return to the shop at any later date, they find only an empty space where the building once stood. Matt Colville's supplement, Strongholds and Followers, is, at least in part, purpose-built to separate players from their hard-earned gold. There are 4 basic types of strongholds that your players can build, be given, or renovate. If your players decide to build a keep, for instance, they're going to end up shelling out 10,000 gold just to get the thing up and running. If they want to upgrade it to the highest level, well, they're going to end up spending another 50,000 gold. That's a pretty big chunk of change for an adventuring group. The benefits and effect of a keep are beyond the scope of this video, but they're great for any campaign that is going to be long and varied. So go ahead and check out Strongholds and Followers. I highly recommend it. Motivation drives our behavior. Typically, what we're motivated to do is what we end up doing. In your campaign, motivation for your players is typically what gets them the most experience. In the rules as written, experience is granted for killing monsters and completing quests and accomplishing narrative milestones. As such, that's typically what players are going to do with Reckless Abandon. Now, what if we only give experience for gold and treasure? Well, that changes the player's motivation drastically. No longer is the end of the quest what they're after. No longer are they going to slay every single monster that they see. In fact, combat might even be something that they will skirt around, if at all possible, provided that they can still get the treasure. This isn't a system that I've used myself, and it was abandoned as an official rule a long time ago, but I still think it's worth considering. It's not interesting in and of itself, necessarily, but when you combine it with something like Strongholds and Followers and buying magic items, suddenly your players have some interesting choices to make. Do they advance their characters, or do they try to buy a magic sword, or do they field an army at their keep? What do they do with all that hard-earned gold? This is a game of the imagination, and I encourage you and your players to use yours. Invest in real estate. Start a business. Put on a banquet and rub shoulders with the local nobility. The sky's the limit. In fact, there is no limit. There's literally no limit to what you and your players can do with your gold. Tell us about some of the crazy ways that you and your players have spent your gold down in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And if you think we deserve it, go ahead and click the subscribe button so that we can see you back here next time. Hopefully this video has given you some ideas on how your players can spend their money in your game. You're the ones that we're making these videos for, so we want to know what you think. If there's any kind of videos that you guys want to see, let us know and we'll do our best to make it.